CBS Sports HQ, a blockbuster trade in the NFL. The Raiders are trading Maxx Crosby to the Ravens for 2026 and 2027 first-round picks. That's according to ESPN. The Ravens only had 30 sacks this past season. Only the Jets and Niners had fewer. Meanwhile, the Raiders continue on their rebuild, adding the 14th pick in this year's draft and Baltimore's first-rounder next year. With that, we welcome in CBS Sports NFL analyst Ryan Wilson. Ryan, this move shakes up the NFL landscape just days before free agency even begins. What was your initial reaction to this big news?
This is planned, right? Like, we understood that Maxx Crosby was not going to be in Las Vegas unless something crazy happened, no matter what John Spytek had said about wanting to keep him. John Spytek also told us, in talking about the first overall pick, he would answer the phone no matter who called. So clearly he answered the phone from Eric DeCosta, and they got a deal done. This is great news for the Ravens, and we heard Lige talk about that in the previous segment. They had to improve off the edge, and they got the most active, high-energy, hair-on-fire edge rusher in the NFL, and Maxx Crosby. And this is potentially even better news for the Raiders, and it sounds silly to say in the wake of losing your best player, but they are making a youth movement. They are moving on from the older players, and Max was the reason probably they won 3 games last year. Otherwise, they may have won fewer than that, going all the way down to 0. But now they have the ability to stockpile draft picks, build around Fernando Mendoza, and turn this thing around. And then the question becomes, Claudia, is this going to be like a Houston Texans 2023 situation in which you can do it quickly if you get a couple of the picks right, including the franchise quarterback, in which case maybe there's another team in the AFC West that's going to challenge the suddenly vulnerable Kansas City Chiefs?
Like you said, we knew this was coming. We didn't know who would be on the receiving end of Maxx Crosby. When you think about the fit and think about the Ravens really restarting with a new head coach, the new pieces, the new era, we'll call it, for the Ravens, how important was this move to that?
Yeah, because the Bears were a popular landing spot. The Ravens weren't on my radar, and this is a grand slam. And Jesse Minter got the most out of Odafe Oweh when they traded for him to the Chargers last year at the trade deadline. He had 0 sacks previously last season for Baltimore and shows up in L.A., and he turns into a completely different player. And while Odafe Oweh is a good edge rusher, Maxx Crosby is one of one, and Jesse Minter's job just got a lot easier. He has his Derwin James and Kyle Hamilton, and now he has Maxx Crosby, and suddenly this defense is going to go a long way in taking the pressure off the offense, which at times was not hitting on all cylinders last year, and the defense was not helping out Lamar Jackson when he was banged up and that offense wasn't working. So this is a huge coup for Baltimore. I think the price is fair for both sides. 2 first-round picks feels about right, maybe even like a slight win for Baltimore. But again, you get now an extra first-rounder, which is 14 overall in the same draft where you have the first overall pick, and then you get next year's first-round pick, and you have a high pick in every other round this year because you weren't very good. I'm telling you, the Raiders can turn this thing around if they can get the owner and perhaps even Tom Brady out of the way from making some rash decisions.
Okay, but can they, is my question. Like, is that just a big hypothetical? What is the realistic timeline for the Raiders really getting these pieces together? Or, should expectations really go out the window and say you're getting rid of the pieces to get the money, to get the capital? What's the realistic timeline, Ryan? Like
2 years ago, Claudia, I'd be like, this is a 3 or 4 year process. But I mentioned the 2023 Texans, and they were a terrible football team going into that draft. Right. Got C.J. Stroud, traded for Will Anderson Jr., and then all they've done is gone to made 3 straight playoff appearances, winning 10 games at least in each of those seasons. Now, C.J. has regressed a little bit, maybe because of injury, maybe for something else, but that year 1 was electric. 2024 for the Washington Commanders, they got Jaden Daniels right. Now, they had changed owners and got a new head coach and a new GM, so there's some change there. But we saw Drake May hit on all cylinders this year. You know that quite well. They got a new coach in there. So they've changed coaches. The owner ain't going anywhere. As our buddy Rand Carthon likes to say, the owner isn't going to fire himself. But they have a new coach in there. He's an offensive-minded coach. John Spytek is a good GM. I think you need a little more hands-off from owners not named Mark Davis, Tom Brady, and you can make it happen. We've seen it happen in recent years, and it's happened quickly because you get the quarterback right, and then you get the infrastructure around that quarterback right. So it's doable, but it requires some restraint from people who have otherwise struggled to show restraint in key moments. And again, I'm talking to Mark Davis.
I'm sure he hears you. I'm very excited to see the next Ryan Wilson mock draft. Of course, you do the draft podcast. You've been talking about the draft all season long, all off season long. But the Raiders now are going to be even hotter of a topic than they were before with that extra first round pick. Names. Give me names. Who should we be keeping an eye out for in Las Vegas?
Yeah, scribbling a bunch of names while you're talking to Lige. Fernando Mendoza's pick number one. If that doesn't happen, then you just fire everybody, and I recant everything that I just said about the quick turnaround. Then at pick 14, you can go in any number of directions, and the first name I wrote down, Claudia, was Venga Ioane, the left guard out of Penn State. They need desperately to fix this offensive line. They have Jackson Powers Johnson, who can play center and guard as well. They drafted him a few years ago. But if you solidify the offensive line for your young quarterback, that goes a long way. You can also solidify the defensive line. Caleb Banks out of Florida would be a fantastic choice here if he checks all the boxes health-wise. He went to the Senior Bowl and was absolutely dominant, and he can take over football games. That's also something they need. They also need an edge rusher because they just traded the best player on the team, Akeem Mesidor at 14. The other guy that plays opposite Reuben Bain Jr. should be available there, maybe even TJ Parker if you trade down a few spots. There are any number of directions that you can go and get a marquee player because this draft is deep at every position virtually other than quarterback, and you're going to get the best quarterback. And I'll mention one other name. You can take a wide receiver there. And if Mekhi Lemon is there out of USC, that would also be a fantastic choice. Then they pick again at 36, and then I think maybe 30 picks later, so 50-something. So they're going to have a lot of times a lot of bites of the apple to get this thing right. But pick one, layup. Pick 14, you can't mess up pick 14 either, for being honest about it. And then after that, we'll see what happens. But I'm pretty excited about this Raiders draft all of a sudden because we knew it'd been Mendoza for what feels like months now, and now we can talk about what pick 14 can do for this team in terms of that quick turnaround that I'm trying to wish into existence.
Mendoza and Lemon, I mean, maybe they will be something this year if they do that, Ryan Wilson. Thank you. And you just heard Ryan's brain moving and grooving. He's doing math. He's thinking of the picks. It's because he does this every week with the First Pick podcast. You can watch it now. They do it all season, all off season long, all draft talk. Scan that QR code to check it out. We're not done. We got more reaction from the Blockbuster trade. Maxx Crosby is now a Baltimore Raven. We talk about it on the other side.